What happens when a person dies? Is there an afterlife or not? These are themes that religions have always addressed, yet the answer to this question is probably, we don't know, which is true for everyone. After all, no one discussing this topic has actually died, so it's natural that we don't know. In this video, we'll explore this age-old question and examine what different religions say about it. There are various religions in the world, but none say when you die, that's the end, there's nothing left. It's terrifying. It's mysterious, isn't it? Despite the fact that living people can't experience what happens after death, many religions hold views on the afterlife. Occasionally, modern monks claim there is no afterlife, but generally, regardless of the sect, whether in Theravada Buddhism or the various branches of Mahayana Buddhism in Japan, they say something happens after death. Other religions like Hinduism and Christianity also endlessly discuss the afterlife. I sometimes want to ask, do you really know? I don't know though. Religions speak about the afterlife because humans inherently don't want to believe that death means everything simply ends, with nothing left, just zero. Let's think about it this way for a moment. We don't want our existence to end with death. This is something everyone understands. Even people who follow different religions don't want it to be true that when we die, that's the end. That's why these doctrines were created, to soothe our deep-seated fears. For example, in the Christian view from Europe, as long as you believe in God, you will go to a special place called heaven after you die. There, everything is provided, and you will never die again, living joyfully and comfortably. On the other hand, if you don't believe in God, you will fall into hell, experiencing eternal suffering. Hearing this, we feel that we have to believe in God to experience eternal joy, even though we don't really want to die. Next, if we hear from people of Islam, they believe in a God called Allah, and it's said that believing in anyone other than Allah is unforgivable. If you worship anything other than the one true God, you'll fall into hell. From that perspective, all Japanese people would go to hell because they often bow their heads in prayer at local shrines or feel reverence for nature. To avoid falling into hell, we'd have to give up all these habits. You might want to prepare yourself for that, laughs. In Japan, we have a tradition of bowing in gratitude towards beautiful things or majestic aspects of nature. This might be a good thing, but unfortunately, from a Muslim perspective, it leads to hell. Religions in the Eastern world don't make such extreme or bold claims, so you can engage with them a bit more calmly. They don't say things like, if you don't believe in Buddha, you'll go to hell, or if you don't chant to Amida Buddha, you'll surely go to hell. In this sense, they are somewhat kinder than European religions, though even such statements can offer some comfort. It's hard to say which is better because they all provide a bit of solace. In truth, the question of what happens after we die only deepens. But as I mentioned at the start, the answer is, we don't know. There's only one way to test it: dying oneself. But this method has a small drawback. Those who have died have never come back to tell us. One of Buddha's scriptures, the Majjhima Nikaya, contains a story of an extreme materialist who only believes in visible matter and considers the soul or mind to be non-existent. One day, he invited a monk to his castle, offered him food, and said, "There are silly monks and religious people who say people reincarnate after death. The truth is, when a person dies, there's nowhere to go. Our body, composed of earth, water, fire, and wind, simply returns to nature." The monk replied, "I've never heard such a foolish story that when one dies, they simply return to these four elements and nothing else." The prince, wanting to verify this, conducted various experiments. He had the authority to execute criminals and tried things like observing if he could see a soul leave the body at the moment of beheading or weighing the body before and after death. Each experiment failed to reveal any sign of a soul. There's also a story that the soul is protected by 5 sheaths, which those familiar with yoga might know as layers of the Atman, with the true self at the center. The prince even skinned a man alive, waiting for the soul to escape, but it never appeared. Afterward, he dismissed the notion of an afterlife as a lie. And yet, in the end, the monk convinced the prince that reincarnation is real. Many religions talk about the afterlife and reincarnation, but this sutra indirectly mocks those ideas. Let's get back to the main question. Did Buddha truly say there's a world after death? Some Buddhist schools teach the concept of the Pure Land, while Christianity speaks of heaven. Although the exact details differ, various religions, including Theravada Buddhism, generally acknowledge the existence of an afterlife. However, Buddha did not seem overly concerned with such a bold question. In the sutras, while he references it occasionally, he rarely says, "Let me tell you about the afterlife." Instead, the focus is almost entirely on how we should live. About 99.9% of the time, that's the focus. As time passed, discussions of the afterlife increased. But during Buddha's time, this was not a major topic. The system of reincarnation is so complex that it's nearly impossible to understand through common sense. What matters most is our way of living, and how we should live until we die. In the scriptures, there is a term, apanaka, which in English means no question or no choice. Buddha said that wise people realize that whether there is an afterlife or not doesn't matter because it is unknowable. What's crucial is that your present life will be judged, regardless of an afterlife. So while the mysteries of death continue to fascinate us, what truly matters is how we choose to live each day. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video thought-provoking, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more insights. Your support means a lot.